I know you took my money. I already called the cops. You better hope you have a good lawyer. Give it all back now, and I'll make a plea for a lighter sentence. From now on, you are dead to us. We no longer have a son. I found out the money Amber deposited was from my father's company. Hello, my name is John. I have a sister who was always my parents' favorite. Despite any flaws she might have had, they were often overlooked. Her name was Amber, and even though she was younger than me, she was often the cause of my punishments and made my life miserable for years. Every small thing I did, Amber used against me. She knew my parents loved her more because she was intelligent. So my parents, Amy and Charles, were always taking her side.
Mom, John's on the phone with his girlfriend. You said we weren't supposed to date till we were 18.
John, get off the phone. You know we have rules about dating.
I am not dating anyone. She's my lab partner for biology.
Yeah, right. I heard you call her babe and honey.
John, get off the phone right now, and you're grounded again.
My father often hung up the phone on me. A lot of this happened before cell phones were a thing, so my father would often just hang up the base of the phone so I couldn't use it. And I want to point out that I wasn't dating anyone. On top of all that, my father still believed in physical punishments, which was common at the time. So I tried to keep the peace between myself and my parents to avoid being hit. Surprisingly, Amber was constantly getting good grades, while I was only a mediocre student at best. Passing, but barely.
Mom, Dad, we got our report cards. Look, all A's.
Oh, good job, Amber. That's fantastic.
You did wonderful, dear.
So, John, what does your report card say? Did you get any D's this time? Or F's? I know he has it. I saw him put it in his backpack.
Although I got passing grades with C's and B's, that was never good enough. I had a hard time reading words sometimes, which I later found out was because I had dyslexia, which was never really tested for back then. As time went on, though, Amber got worse and worse. She would start taking my school lunches and throwing them away. She started rumors about me at school, like I would wet the bed, or that I was caught wearing her underwear. It got bad enough that I had a hard time making any friends, and would often eat alone in the bathroom. When she wasn't punished for it at school, she pushed her limits at home too.
Dad, John was trying to peek at me in the shower.
No, I didn't. I wasn't even on the second floor. John, get your ass over here now. That's crossing the line. I won't ever forget that day. It was the turning point for me and my family. My parents never even considered that she might be lying and wouldn't listen to my side of the story at all. And Amber knew, then and there, that everything was fair game to her. She was untouchable. From then on, I started staying late after school, doing extracurricular activities, like track and cross country, joining whatever club would run late into the night, and had other people so Amber couldn't outright lie where I was at.
I saw John drinking down by the river.
Call Ms. Smith, I was with the public speaking club again. Be careful, John. As before, I will be calling to check. I know you're bound to slip up sometime. Although my grades were mediocre, all my after-school activities helped me get into an okay college. I was happy to be out of the house. Amber was able to get into a great school across the country. The only time we saw each other was during the first Christmas break. Hi, Mom and Dad, how are you all doing? Are you doing good in school? Don't ask for any money. You're old enough to be taking care of yourself like a man.
Hi, Mom and Dad. I got more A's. College isn't as hard as I thought it would be.
And we are so proud of you, Amber. Good job. How about you, John? Are you getting good grades too?
The same as high school, but slightly more B's.
Oh, are you cheating in college too then?
I never cheated in high school. John, if you get caught cheating, they will kick you out. And don't expect to come back here. I won't have my disgraced son living with me. That would be an embarrassment.
So, Amber, how did your trip to the beach go last week?
Another thing I realized, both my parents were constantly checking in on Amber, calling her to see how she was doing and what she was up to. They never called me once. I made it partway through Christmas break before deciding that I would just spend the rest of it on campus instead. I told my parents that I had a major project due and that my partners and I got permission to use the lab during the break so we'd have more time to test some experiments. It wasn't true. We'd already finished before the break, but no one batted an eye at my story. Amber made a rude comment that we were probably way behind and were trying to play catch-up, and my father commented that it was rude to make the teachers work on their break, especially for a student who was most likely going to fail anyway.
Goodbye, John.
Bye, Mom. I better not get any calls from the school, John. Keep your nose clean. Got it? After that, I decided not to go back home ever again. I stayed at school during summer break, taking a few additional classes. I was able to graduate very early because of that. My grades weren't anything special, but because I did 4 years of school within 2 years, I got a few interviews lined up fairly easily and was able to convince them that I was indeed a hard worker. My starting pay was decent, and as time went on, I started making good money. During those years, I never once got a call or anything. That is until I got one from Amber a few years later. As soon as I heard her voice, I suddenly got the urge to record the call as I had no idea what she was going to say. For all I knew, she could accuse me of something crazy, and I wanted to protect myself.
Hello, John. I wanted to apologize for everything I did to you growing up.
Really?
I didn't realize how much of a shit I was to you till recently. I just wanted to call and say I am sorry, and that I don't blame you for hating me.
I appreciate the call and apology, Amber, but I am not sure how I feel about this.
I don't blame you at all. Please take your time. I am going to give you space, but I want to call again in the future. Will that be okay?
Sure, Amber, that'd be fine. I was dumbfounded. I never expected her to call and apologize. I wasn't sure what to make of it, and for the rest of the week, I was confused. She did call again about a week or two later, again friendly and nice. After that, we continued to talk off and on over the next month, maybe once every 2 weeks. Not a lot, but those conversations were the nicest I have ever had with her. Until one day.
Hey, John, I need some help with something. You see, my boss wants to give me a bonus, but since our father keeps tabs on my account, I don't want him to know how much I am getting. It's a large bonus.
Why is Dad keeping tabs on your account?
He gives me money sometimes. Me being immature. Misspent enough that he wouldn't lend any more unless he had access. But now that I am making good money, he only checks to ensure I have enough to eat and for rent. Sorry, I know he doesn't do the same for you.
So why keep the bonus a secret?
Because I want to get them a large gift and want it to be a surprise. Plus, I'll be leaving some of it in your account to help make up for the hell I put you through.
I never should have trusted her. I gave her my bank information. By the end of the week, she had deposited an unfathomable amount of money into my account. As I had done several times before, I had recorded the call, but unlike the previous times, I felt no guilt about doing so this time. Something about it felt odd. A day or so later, I got a call.
I know you took my money. I already called the cops. You better hope you have a good lawyer. Give it all back now, and I'll make a plea for a lighter sentence. From now on, you are dead to us. We no longer have a son.
I found out the money Amber deposited was from my father's company. I checked my account and the money was gone. Amber didn't answer any of my calls. Worried, I contacted a lawyer. He was new but offered a good discount, something my salary could afford in payments. After working with a detective and a private investigator, it was found that Amber had been in deep debt for many years, often getting money from our father to help cover most of what she owed. When my dad started noticing money disappearing from his account and became suspicious, Amber used me to divert the attention. She tried to frame me by putting that money into my account, but I wasn't even in the same city where the transfer happened, and there were cameras at the bank. That, on top of my recording of her saying that she was going to put the money into my account, helped to protect me. It was clear-cut that she was using me. The account she moved it to was easily tracked as well, so getting the money back wasn't that hard since Amber wasn't a criminal mastermind. Armed with all that evidence, I went to my parents and the police and gave it to them both. It didn't take long for them to catch her and arrest her for embezzling money and fraud. Before the trial, though, my parents approached me. "Look, son, you don't have to testify against her. You know she was only trying to pay off her debts. She was embarrassed about them, and I got my money back. But it's all going to her greedy lawyer who's saying the amount she took was so large that she's looking at a long time in prison for this. You wouldn't want that, would you?"
Yeah, John. Please just be reasonable and let's just forget all about this. There's no sense in punishing her more than she has already been.
I am sorry. Who is this? As far as I am aware, I have no parents. In the end, my father lost his company. He had to sell it for pennies on the dollar just to make up for what my sister's lawyer was charging them. He put up a second mortgage on their home as well in a last-ditch effort to save his business and daughter. But in the end, it foreclosed. They tried once to see if they could live with me, but I told them that would be an embarrassment for me. Amber got convicted. Her debts, theft, fraud, and tax evasions meant she had to serve time and now had a record. She's still serving and was up for parole last I heard, but was denied. Despite that, when she does get out, she won't be able to go back to our mom or dad because they still don't have a place to live and have been staying with other relatives in a cramped one-bedroom place. Plus, she'll always have a record now. As much as they needed me in the end, they didn't deserve my help and will never get it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more stories.